Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a 1-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
This episode is brought to you by United Airlines. When you want to make the most of your vacation, book with United. They're an airline that cares about your travels as much as you do. United is transforming the flying experience with Bluetooth connectivity, screens, power at every seat, and bigger overhead bins to help fit everyone's bag. And with their app, you can skip the bag check line, get live updates, and more. Change the way you fly. Book your next trip today at united.com.
Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No, don't. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
You're listening to Achtung Millwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Birmingham. Accept no substitute.
Spectator announcement. Due to circumstances beyond our control, this match cannot go ahead tonight.
Hello, dear listeners. Welcome to Achtung Millwall. My name is Nick Hart. A very short and sharp show for you today, given that last night's fixture at Fratton Park fell foul of a floodlight fader, a power cut in the area, apparently. Just 10 minutes before kick-off, watching the Sky streamers in the comfort and warmth of my living room, it all seemed initially like there was some kind of Fancy Day and Liar show to go on, but no, it wasn't in fact that, dear listeners. It was a loss of power, thanks, I am told, to a burned-out electric substation in the area, and unfortunately the backup generators used by Portsmouth not being sufficiently powerful to power the whole stadium lighting, which meant that although there was eventually some pitch lighting that returned, the access routes and the kind of exits and interior areas of the stadium were largely unlit, which was felt to be a safety hazard. The longer the evening wore on, certainly by the time it got towards what would have been the end of the first half, it became apparent that the game was going to be postponed, as indeed the announcement came eventually, and that was that. So a rearrangement becomes necessary. Big shout out to the nearly 2,000 Millwall fans that went down to Fratton Park for last night's non-event, including our guest on the show now, which is Matt Webb. I'm going to go over to my conversation I've just had with Matt very, very shortly. After Matt, will be playing the show out with a clip lifted from the Portsmouth official site of their chief exec, Andrew Cullen, explaining all about what happened and how it isn't their fault. Let's hope the EFL see it the same way. But there we are. So next up is Matt Webb, and then we'll play it with Andrew Cullen. Thank you for listening, dear listeners. Short, sharp, wham, bam. Thank you, ma'am. Till the weekend, we'll be back with the next edition of Achtung Millwall. Until then, bye for now.
Achtung, Millwall.
Well, it's a huge welcome on the show now to a witness to last night's events, or lack of events, I suppose. Matt Webb, how are you doing, Matt?
Yep, all good. It was a very cold yet eventful evening last night, but managed to get home in good time for once, as opposed to early hours of the morning.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. I mean, normally on these shows, next day we do the podcast about what had happened. Last night it doesn't allow that. We can talk about what didn't happen. What didn't happen was the fixture between Portsmouth and Millwall. I've got to say, one of the strangest events I think I've seen in a long, long time, Matt. I can't think of anything in my time where we've lost games, obviously through weather, but floodlight failure is a rare event, isn't it?
Well, definitely. It was. I think it was a regional blackout in the end of it. It wasn't just the stadium itself, but I kind of. It's the first one I've had where the power let us down. we've had waterlogged pitches and fog and adverse weather,
Snow.
but definitely not power. That's for certain.
No, I mean, I was following it on stream, and I actually thought when the lights went off, Matt, I'll be honest, I think maybe the crowd thought the same. There's going to be a light show or some sort because we seem to lose power. It went dark, but some parts of the stadium remained lit. I thought we were going to get for another light show, and I think there was a bit of booing as a consequence. But obviously, that might have been a welcome relief if it had happened, because it would have meant the game could have taken place.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the 1,800 strong Millwall also thought once those lights were out, it was going to start off some light theatrics, so to speak. But I think it was only when the MC's mic completely cut off, and then myself and a friend of mine looked up and saw that the emergency lighting was on, thinking, this ain't right.
No. I mean, I'm just reading TT's put on the announcements. I mean, I think with the benefit of a day's, a night's sleep and looking back at everything, and I've looked at some of the announcements by Portsmouth and Millwall. I mean, it sounds as though a substation went locally, and I think they do have it's an old stadium, isn't it, Fratton Park, Matt? So modern stadia use a lot of power, and I think they're at full stretch from what I can gather. But I mean, I think it's the modern communication side. Would you agree with that? I mean, how was it for the crowd last night? There seemed to be a very little communication going on for the bulk of that, what would have been the first half, really.
Well, to be fair, once the lights went off and everyone sort of like got a little bit excited, let's just put it like that, when it went into complete darkness, I think once we realised that there was no light show, I felt personally it was a very slow response from the club, from Portsmouth, to inform what was going on. They had obviously got a safety officer who eventually came onto tannoy, but not with immediate effect. Also, I think there was lack of reaction from the local Hampshire police as well, because of where we stand, there's a corner section where our fans meet their fans, and we've got the classic exchange verbals, pointing out one of the people on the opposite side. And at one point, I felt was getting a little bit overzealous. Let's just put it like that. And I just think there was a lack of reaction from the Hampshire police, just to keep peace at bay, so to speak. I mean, they did eventually come, but it was only after probably a good 10, 15 minutes in complete darkness, once everyone realises that, as I say, there was no light show, and probably the batteries were draining on their phones because everyone was putting their torches on, that something was afoot. And then everyone obviously trying to get on social media. So obviously the network of telephone communications was probably jam-packed. And I think eventually there was another non-league team nearby that literally also had the same experience, but immediately called their game off. And obviously it's a different calibre from professional football to amateur football, but still they knew what was a problem. But I believe also in Portsmouth terms, they opened up a new fan park, I think, that last night as well, which obviously drained a lot of power source. I think I was just seeing an interview from their chairman or CEO, whoever he was.
Yeah. I mean, I was watching whilst the Sky TV stream was on, and they took it down after about 10, 15 minutes of, basically waiting for something to happen. But it was quite strange. I mean, I make you right about if there's a substation got on that produces an area-wide power loss, and there's probably not much that Portsmouth can do about that, because that's in the hands of the power company. But it was one of those strange ones where there's some of the long shots of the stadium, you could see the streets around, and there were street lights on, and houses seemed to be illuminated. So it's very much a localised thing from what I could see watching TV. I don't know if you'd agree with that, having been there, but it seemed, even the emergency lighting produced the same sense of some lights on, some lights off. So very odd power cut in that way.
Yeah, it was weird. I mean, opposite us, they're behind their goal, you could see in their concourse their lights were on. One of the stands at the back, there was a whole power of light. It's as if, like, if you map out the whole town or city of Portsmouth, the grid, it's sort of like one grid has gone, but another grid is next to it, which does have power, which subsequently that stadium must be part of that grid. There were some houses around the back that had lights. Someone told me that Tesco's was illuminated still. So it was just one of the real oddball moments, to put it like that.
Yeah, and we're just reading TT's sequence. He says lights go off at 7:35. An announcement to tell you that the lights are off comes at 5 to 8, which as if you didn't know. Then they put the lights on. They managed to get the lights on. But I think the problem, from what I can gather, is that once the pitch lights are on, the large chunks of the stadium were not on, and so it's a safety issue. And I think that's probably what tipped the balance. Plus, the time passing, because the closer it got to 8:30, I was thinking, well, they're never going to get the game in and get the Millwall back to Fratton Stadium for the last train out of town. That's going to be a problem as well.
Yeah, I mean, that was a lot of discussion in the stands, was about people's it was more of a laugh and a joke, was about whether the British Rail were going to keep that special train ready for us, because obviously it was going to be a late kickoff, and I don't think they were obliged to cooperate. I mean, lucky enough I drove, so there wasn't no issue from our part. I think more of the fact that the power, it was 55 minutes, the power came back on, and subsequently some lights in the stand itself was still not on. Eventually they did all come on, but by that time I don't think the referee had and the safety officer had no choice really to say, look, it's getting too late. As I said, you've got near enough 1,900 strong Millwall down here, which probably about 40, 50, maybe even 60% of them have come by public transport. Do they want all of us roaming around the streets of Portsmouth, where obviously they're not exactly our nicest of neighbours, or nicest of friends?
Oh dear, there we are. Game was called off in the end, and we'll have to rearrange it. I was looking at the Football League regulations. A lot of people saying, have they failed to fulfill one of their fixtures, which obviously breaks the one of the guidelines of the Football League, which, I mean, yes. I mean, I had a quick look at it. This is sad life I lead, listeners. I found the regulations online. They do have a get-out clause where events beyond their control, which could probably argue that a power failure to an electrical substation is outside Pompey's control. So I don't think we'll get any points. They'll have to rearrange the fixture for late in the season, Matt. I think that anyone thinking we might get 3 points for nothing is a little bit, away with the fairies there. Yeah,
I think, obviously we're coming into a real busy period of fixtures, and I can't imagine it's going to be changed for a midweek this side of Christmas. I mean, unless they play it on the 21st, which are highly unlikely that would happen. But I think more it'll be Jan. I think they've got to have a certain window though to replay the fixture. I don't know if that's still intact, like 7 or 8 weeks. But if that's the case, then we're looking January time that we'll have to make another trip down here. You never know. Obviously, FA Cup comes into fray as well, so it's not exactly an easy window to try and squeeze this game in, unless obviously both clubs can go back to the FA with a special dispensation of playing it at a later date. I mean, don't get me wrong, it'd be nice to play it more into the warmer months as opposed to last night, because it was absolutely freezing. But I bet
it was.
But no, it was. But yeah, we're going to have to replay it. Unfortunately, we can't get like the classic Sunday League 3 points and a 3-0 win scenario, really. But I feel like I'm the Jonah though, Nick, because this is the second time I've been down to Fratton Park, and it's the second time the game's been called off. Because I was just chatting to Jim, my brother, and we're saying that we travelled down there in the late 90s, and the weather was horrendous, and it was called off because of waterlogged pitch. And I've never been back since until last night. No. So in fact, I've been twice, and I still ain't seen a bloody game. So third time's the charm, as they say.
It's a long while since I've been to Fratton Park, but I do remember that postponement. In that case, you're the Jonah. In that case, Matt, we'll have to keep you away from the return fixture. I mean, just to go back to the team that was announced, it never happened, this team, but there was at one point.
This episode is brought to you by United Airlines. When you want to make the most of your vacation, book with United. They're an airline that cares about your travels as much as you do. United is transforming the flying experience with Bluetooth connectivity, screens, power at every seat, and bigger overhead bins to help fit everyone's bag. And with their app, you can skip the bag check line, get live updates, and more. Change the way you fly. Book your next trip today at united.com.
Blinds.com's Black Friday sales event is happening now with our best deals of the season. Let our design experts help you make the perfect selection for your home on your schedule. We can send free samples right to you and handle everything from measure to install. With over 25 million windows covered, Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. Save up to 50% site-wide, plus doorbusters, and a free professional measure at the Blinds.com Black Friday sales event now. Rules and restrictions may apply.
This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first, like you know to check the date of the big game first before you accidentally buy tickets on your 20th wedding anniversary and have to spend the next 20 years of your marriage making up for it. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
The prospect of Murray Wallace filling in the central defensive role, which I think we've probably dodged a slight bullet, because when we do get this fixture rearrangement, hopefully either Jake will be nearer to fitness or maybe Hutchinson will certainly be fit to take the field, because I was a little bit queasy about the idea of Murray being in the centre of defence last night.
But he didn't put a foot wrong last night, Nick. That's what we've got to remember. he done a good job. But of the two centre backs, where Jaffett's only one away from a suspension, one yellow away,
yes, he is.
And Jake's now injured, and now we found out that Sean Hutchinson can't do a 3-game week, which at his age I can totally understand. So again, it's sort of like we're coming down to our bare. I'll say bare bone. Well, we are our bare bone in terms of Murray Wallace.
Central defence,
lovely, lovely fella, nice, good professional. But we if we want to challenge for the top end, we need to have the ilk of Cooper, Tanganga waiting in the wings to step in. So I think that was as I say, back in the last summer, I think that was a massive misjudgment, I think, on recruitment in terms of we missed someone out there. So hopefully with this postponement, that strengthens Hutchinson ready for Saturday, and then obviously we can start building again. And hope, maybe, you never know, Wes Harding there might be a sort of renaissance of having him back in the fray if Harris feels like he deserves a chance like he did with Amaku. So you just don't know, mate.
Harris don't seem to fancy him at all. Harris don't fancy him at all, Matt, does he, Harding? I don't know why. I didn't think it was that bad, but there we are. We'll see what we get Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, sorry, go on.
But no, I was going to say you're going to go to Oxford. I believe you told me.
Yes, so Touchwood will be. Yeah, we've got the just after 9 o'clock train coming out of Marylebone, and had the delight of getting a number 4 bus. I think it is from Oxford to the Kazan. Do you know what? That's part of an away day, in my opinion, Nick, is the experience of how you get to a football ground. And, could have done the classic drive again or get on the supporters coach. But no, we'll be on the train this time around. And where it's a 12:30 kickoff, yes, a nice early start, but at least we haven't got no stress in getting home, really. I can take an hour in Wetherspoons at Oxford, if there is one, before I come home. But
there will be one.
Yeah, we're going to go, and as I said, there'll probably be hopefully a game of football, and hopefully we can provide you with some match reports for you.
Fantastic, mate. Well, listen, I really appreciate you taking time out your day, Matt. I mean, difficult, obviously, with nothing much to talk about last night other than the non-event that was Portsmouth Millwall, but we'll talk again, no doubt, at the weekend after Oxford. Let's hope we get a game of football this time, Matt. Big thank you, mate. Appreciate it.
That's all right, no problem, Nick.
Achtung, Millwall.
A slight stop press, dear listeners. I don't know if you can ever stop press editing a sound-based podcast, but just as I was doing the edit for this show, up on Instagram has popped an announcement by Mark Fairbrother, our chief exec now, basically thanking fans for going last night, just to confirming that match tickets and coach tickets via the club purchase will be refunded back to the original card payment method, including booking fees. And they're going to work with, obviously, Portsmouth to try and get the fixture rearranged and explore ways in which we can assist, Millwall can assist fans with their travel for the rearranged games. Once that's confirmed, all of this will be announced on millwallfc.co.uk. Please note, new tickets will be arranged by Portsmouth for the rearranged fixture, so you'll get your money back if you had tickets and went by coach last night, the club coach. And the club are going to work with fans to, work with Portsmouth rather, to arrange for transport to the rearranged fixture, which is probably going to be another midweek fixture, isn't it, dear listeners? But anyway, nice touch, Millwall FC. Well done, Mark Fairbrother. That's literally just popped up as I was editing the show to put this out, so I thought I'd stick it in at the expense of some of the time of Andrew Cullen, who's Portsmouth's chief exec. So I'm going to play out the show now with Andrew Cullen explaining all that went wrong last night. So thanks for listening, dear listeners. Arrivederci Millwall. Bye for now.
Evening here at Fratton Park, and a decision that must have been difficult to make.
It was incredibly difficult, really disappointing. But first of all, really upset, really frustrated, and I'm really sorry for everybody, for the players, for the match officials, for the coaches, but most of all for the supporters who have travelled here to Fratton Park tonight. Capacity crowd, wanted to see a good game of football, and we've not been able to deliver that. So it's obviously at the moment beyond our control. We can only deal with the facts as we know them, and are happy to go through that and explain what happened as much as we know at the moment. We were at a point at 25 to 8, just 10 minutes, or just less than 10 minutes before kick-off, when we lost power throughout the whole stadium. We lost the floodlights, we lost lighting in the stands, and we lost the CCTV from the control room, which monitors safety outside the ground. The only place we didn't lose any power was the north stand, and which is served by a separate circuit, along with the area outside the fan zone and the containers there, where we're all working normally. But inside the ground, we lost it. We worked incredibly hard to try and identify the source of the problem. The team, the safety team and our maintenance team explored every sort of stand by stand to try and identify it. And eventually, I think we traced it back to, which I'll come on to later, into the substation that serves Fratton Park. So a major power failure, a major incident in that respect. We recovered the floodlights around about 8:05 on the backup systems that we have in place. We were also then able to get a lot of the lighting back in the stand, and non-essential lighting, emergency lighting was working in the places where it needed to work, but outside the stands by the exits. But within the stands itself, we slowly started to get that back, but it was intermittent. We then got to a point round about 8:30, and I have to thank the match officials who gave us the space, the time and the opportunity as much as we needed to get the game on. You know, they wanted to play the game or referee the game, officiate the game. Both managers, both head coaches wanted to play the game. The players wanted to play it as well. So we were given the space to do our best to get it back on. But we had another consideration which came into play around about 8:30, and that was the fact that if we were able to kick off around about 8:45, then we would probably not finish the game till after 11:15, which would have meant that the trains going back to London and to other areas of the country from Fratton would not be available, and that would have left Millwall fans in particular stranded, as well as our own supporters who were travelling back. So we had to make the very, very unfortunate, very, very difficult, heart-wrenching call to call the game off, and that was not a decision that was not taken lightly. We need to understand a little bit more about what happened. What we do know now is we have a substation which serves Fratton Park. Most people will have seen that substation, which is at the back of the north stand, sort of east side towards the Milton side, which is completely fenced off. We have another substation outside that fence. We were able to trace and found that was no issues there at all. When the Southern Electric Board arrived here at 8:30, they were able to identify that there'd been a major blowout in that substation. Unfortunately, we have no access into there. If we had, it might have been something that we could have been able to sort of rectify the situation, but we're not able to do that. At the moment, we can only speculate as to what might have caused that trip on that particular circuit. Was it something in the area? Was it something in the stadium? We just don't know, but that will obviously now be part of the investigation that we'll complete over the next few days. We'll pick up all the various learnings from tonight as well. Anytime you have a major incident in a football match or a football stadium, then you'll review what you could do better and different things that could have happened. But this has been tonight something we had literally no control over in terms of losing power within the stadium. And, you know, we're upset because we lost a game on Saturday at Blackburn through the weather, no fault of anybody. But, you know, a waterlogged pitch we weren't able to play. And tonight, you know, we've had no power in the stadium. The most important thing for any football club is to ensure that its supporters can arrive at a game, be safe, watch the game in safety, and most importantly, get home safely as well and out of the stadium. And I think with a capacity crowd tonight, whilst we slowly were, sort of thinking, great, we've got some power coming back in, there's a chance we can play this, we had no confidence that emergency power would last throughout to the final whistle. The emergency backup systems are entirely that. They're there to allow ingress and egress out of the stadium should you get a major power failure. So without that confidence, our safety officer and myself, the CEO, could not guarantee that people could leave this ground safely. And you have to make that very, very hard decision and tough decision to call the game. And it's not an easy one to do. And, we had to take the guidance of those around us as well, the outside agencies who support us as well. And so, we've had players prep for the game. We've had coaches prep for the game. We've had, as I said, we've had the match officials who have travelled to get here tonight. We've had ground staff. We had over an inch of rain in Portsmouth last night, and we've had the ground staff work tirelessly on the pitch, which was on, had standing water on it this morning to get it ready for play, and it's in perfect condition to play a game of football tonight. So I feel for them as well, but most importantly for the supporters. So I'm incredibly sorry that they've not been able to watch a game tonight. I apologise to those that have made the travel, but I hope they'll understand that, the incident that's happened tonight is something that, as far as we know, was something that we couldn't have no control over. But we'll all look at it. We'll understand every aspect of tonight's in terms of a debrief that we do, as we would do with any major incident. And hopefully, we can, we'll look forward to going to Swansea on Saturday and then coming back for 2 home matches against Bristol City and Norwich in the next few weeks.
Achtung, Millwall.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.